Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. This is Dan GH, your number one Life in the UK test learning platform. In our previous video, we learned about the Roman invasion. So we learned that the Romans invaded the UK, and the first invasion was led by Julius Caesar, but that was unsuccessful attempt until later they tried and invaded the UK again. The Romans remained in the UK for 400 years. So after the 400 years, what came next is what we are going to learn today. Thanks for the support, the subscription, and the watching of the videos. We really appreciate it. Do well to share with other colleagues as well who will benefit from this video. The Romans left the Britain in the year AD 410 to other part of their empire, so they left the UK completely. Now, when they left, another group of people invaded the UK, and these people, it was a combination of 3 tribes together, okay, and they believed to be from Europe, so it consisted of tribes from Germany, then we also have Denmark and the Netherlands. So they came together, and they were known to be what we call the Jutes, the Angles, and the Saxons. When the Romans left the UK, these people came together to invade the UK. So we had the Jutes, we have the Angles, and we have the Saxons. And they were believed to be from the Europe, which were Germans, Netherlands, and also Denmark. So they came together, then they invaded the UK. So when they came, they mostly settled in England, the modern day England. So that is the part that they settled mainly. And initially, I mean, there was some resistance. They fought them, but they were able to conquer. So in the year AD 600, that is when they were fully established in the Britain. So they mostly settled in England, as I said, and areas such as Wales, Scotland, it remained free from the Anglo-Saxons. They established their way of life, introduced their culture and everything in England. Whilst they were settled here, one important information that you can be asked during the test is where they buried their kings. So once they were settled here, they buried their kings in what was known as Sutton Hoo. This is currently in modern day UK known as a place called Suffolk. So that is where they buried their kings, but initially they were calling the place Sutton Hoo. The Anglo-Saxons, that is the Jutes, the Angles, and the Saxons, they were not Christians, unlike the Romans who were Christians. So these people, they were not Christians. However, there were missionaries who traveled all the way around Europe to come and preach here in the UK about Christianity. And one of those popular missionaries was known as Saint Patrick. Saint Patrick. So he was most famous for spreading Christianity around the UK during those times. Another important person who also was preaching about Christianity during those times was also Saint Columba. So we have Saint Patrick, Saint Columba, then we also have Saint Augustine. So these were people who were championing the spread of Christianity during these eras. And this person, Saint Augustine, first became the Archbishop of Canterbury. Archbishop of Canterbury, which that one we will later talk about that piece of information. Saint Patrick then also became the patron saint of Ireland. Patron saint of Ireland. If we talk of patron saint, we are talking of someone who led a holy, exemplary life, and they've been regarded as the protector of a certain community, group, or maybe a nation. So if you go to Ireland, their patron saint is Saint Patrick. He is regarded as the protector of Ireland as a nation. And Saint Columba, he also founded a monastery. So monastery on the island of Iona. So this one is in Scotland. So this monastery is in Scotland. That was where it was. So these are notable people who were responsible for spreading Christianity around Europe and the UK at that time. We have Saint Patrick, who became the Lord Protector Saint of Ireland. And we also had Saint Columba, who founded a monastery on the island of Iona, which is in Scotland. Then we have Saint Augustine, who later became the first Archbishop of Canterbury. These are all information that you need to know when it comes to the Anglo-Saxons invasion and their stay in the UK. One of the notable questions that can be asked is the first Archbishop of Canterbury, and that is Saint Augustine, probably who is the patron saint of Ireland, and that one is Saint Patrick. Brings us to the end of today's class, and was purely based on the invasion of the Anglo-Saxons, which I explained that there were 3 tribes. They were the Jutes, the Angles, and the Saxons. Came from Germany, Netherlands, and some part of Denmark. When their kings died, they buried them in a place known as the Satin Hole, which is now modern-day Suffolk. Thanks for joining, and we hope to see you in our next class.